You still can enjoy them,
Yep.
but not always, right? Not all. Not, that wasn't you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what's the change
Well, this is a very
in your mitochondria? So much energy that your mitochondria, which is your energy powerhouse.
Hey yo, I'm Shen Yi,
I'm Ameerul. We are dietitians from Malaysia. We do podcasts, we do coaching.
helping you eat better in a sustainable way. Welcome back to our episode 31 of
Wow.
Not Only Diet Talk. Yep, and if you can see it from the title, we are going to go to talk about some habit that could actually lead to some problem like obesity, diabetes, hypertension, or high cholesterol. As usual, today we have a nutritionist and content creator. Can I say that?
An entrepreneur, right?
And entrepreneur.
Hopefully.
We give some
Entrepreneur.
Thank you. Some teaser.
And we have Ben Chee. Can you introduce yourself?
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Shen Yi and Ameerul, it's great to be here. And hi everyone, my name is Ben. I'm, as I say, I'm a nutritionist and content creator, and hopefully, an entrepreneur. Okay.
Right. All right. So basically, the topic that we are going to talk about today, it comes from a trend that I'm noticing.
Sure.
Yeah, it comes from a trend where I'm noticing. If let's say we refer to some of the data in terms of health status of Malaysian,
Yeah.
right? We are actually getting more prone to have diabetes. We have
Yeah.
like around 15.6% of adults.
Yeah.
We are actually having diabetes, either diagnosed or undiagnosed. And then 3 out of 10 of Malaysian adults, we are having high blood pressure, hypertension, or they are suffering from high cholesterol, which is something. This data has been increasing from year to year. This is the latest data of 2023. Yeah, 2 years back, basically. And then when I notice this trend, and it reminds me of one of the main topic that we're going to talk about, which is metabolic syndrome. Yeah, right. Then we are going to go deeper and ask nutritionist Ben, right, in terms of what are some of the habits that could lead to this metabolic syndrome.
Yeah. Maybe before that, Shinji, do you want to just share like what is metabolic syndrome, you know?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So metabolic syndrome. I was intended to ask Ben on this question.
Oh, I'm putting you into the spotlight.
because
Great.
he's going
Let
to share.
Shen do the heavy lifting.
Explanation. Right. So basically, metabolic syndrome is actually defined by certain criteria. For example, if let's say you have high blood sugar, you have high blood pressure, or even high cholesterol or triglyceride. Basically, this is we can get from your blood profile. But one of another criteria is in terms of your waist circumference. So whenever all these data actually go out range higher, then we categorize it as the group of metabolic syndrome. Yeah.
I see. So how does that actually related to obesity and overweight? Is it like interrelated? Like, is it like if they have diabetic mean they are obese? When they're obese, they must have diabetes.
Technically, for people who are obese, they have higher risk of getting diabetes. But I wouldn't say it's like they're interrelated. But most of the people with metabolic syndrome, they have all these criteria.
All
These
right.
5 criteria.
Yeah, so I guess that's the main reason and the main objective why we bring Banshee today, because we want a band to actually share what are the habits that actually could lead to these problems. And one thing that I feel like it's important for us to know, all of these are actually we are doing this to actually try to educate and give higher awareness to people about this disease. It is a disease, it is a problem, and we have to address it. And if it is something that we can avoid, we can avoid. So by how? By knowing all this information about it, by learning what are the habits that can actually lead to all this issue.
Probably our audience can also reflect back whether if you are actually having this habit.
Yep, exactly. So Ben, is there any specific habits that can actually lead to these problems that we mentioned earlier?
Well, there are definitely plenty of habits, and great question and great introduction regarding metabolic syndrome and the prevalence in Malaysia.
Yep.
So the 3 habits that could potentially lead to or contribute to metabolic syndrome, definitely number 1 is taking too much sugar. Okay, and number 2, personally, taking too little fiber, and number 3 is the lack of movement. Just 3 simple things.
Okay.
Okay, so first one, maybe I can elaborate
Yep,
more
of course.
on the sugar part. So if you look at Malaysia, right, what is the common breakfast in Malaysia? Just tell me, what is the common
Roti canai
breakfast?
nasi lemak.
Milo. Oops. Chocolate.
Not the marshmallow, okay? Mother's my favorite also.
Teh tarik.
Yeah, for example, let's say if you go to a typical warung
Yep,
or restaurant,
yep.
roti canai, like teh tarik, and then what else? The kuih mui, the kuih keria,
True.
and like that curry puff, right? And all these things are pretty much mostly, I would say, carbohydrates. A bit of fat, of course, but I would say mostly they are carbohydrate rich. And the thing about this is, for some reason, yes, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Okay, I guess many people can agree. Some people disagree, but regardless, if it's the first meal of the day,
True.
I think it's important. And since it's important, the question is, why are we like putting so much excess carbohydrates and sugar into our system? Okay, and maybe most people are not aware of it. Maybe it's a cultural part. Maybe we're used to that. But things have changed. In the past, maybe we start the day in the morning.
Interesting. Okay.
We start the day in the morning, we
Yep.
do heavy work, right? Maybe
Yep.
you have to go
Yep.
kebun, kerja.
True.
That's fine.
Yep.
But nowadays, like, who the hell like still goes to kebun every single day? I mean, the majority of population is desk-bound work.
Yep.
Yep,
Everything
yep.
is lack of physical. And I think that is a disparity that we are looking at. All right? It's a shift in the activity levels, but not the shift in the way how we eat things. In fact, even more. Even more processed. And I think that's a challenge and that's the problem.
I see.
Yeah.
But I also think that nowadays
Yeah.
it's closely related to the food accessibility. It's
Yeah.
so easy to find anything just right in front of your home, for example, or maybe you can just deliver
Yeah.
the food easily.
Yeah.
That could also be a habit that without we realize,
Yeah.
it has a subtle effect of like you contributing to like, okay, when I feel like I want to eat something, I'm just gonna like just order and then it will be delivered to your home
So easy.
so easily.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can agree to a point where right now we are not working as hard as
Before,
our previous
ancestors.
ancestors. That's quite far. But yeah, because they work very hard, a lot of hard
Labor work.
labor work.
Yeah.
So they will require more energy, and that basically shape the habit of eat culture. That they will take something very high in carbohydrate,
Energy dense.
energy dense.
Yeah.
Yep. So how can you were saying by taking high energy dense or high carbohydrate or high sugar food in the morning
Yeah.
for breakfast, how can it lead to this the problem that we mentioned?
Sure. So the thing about this is, you see, I'm not sure if you heard of the word sugar spike.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
You know, the feeling where you feel like you have a bit of brain fog, the feeling of where you feel like there's a bit of jittery feeling.
Yep.
After 2 hours, you felt extremely hungry and you want another sugar hit. All right. So pretty much like this is the problem that we face now is, you see, imagine like the car speedometer, right?
Okay.
The car speedometer, okay, there's a limit as to how well the engine can function, right?
Of course.
Like for example, like a Proton, for example, a MyV, 0 to 120 is quite comfortable. But beyond that is you're taxing,
Shaky,
you're
right?
shaky, you're taxing out the engine.
Right.
So similarly, in the system in our body, there's also an engine. Okay, there's the hormonal levels and there's the sugar. That's called the sugar threshold. Okay, basically
Okay.
is how high your sugar can go and how low your sugar can go, and our body is always balancing this. So what happens is when we start to take in so much sugar in the morning,
Yep.
the first thing is the sugar level will go up and it'll go out like a rocket. Okay, like Elon Musk rocket, but it doesn't controllably comes down like Elon Musk rocket. Okay, it will go down way beyond the baseline, and this constant fluctuation of sugar up and down, this huge spike and low dips are creating a lot of the problems that we face, like for example the insulin resistance, the high sugar, and therefore getting into all those metabolic illnesses, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases and things like that. So insulin resistance and high sugar spikes.
But wouldn't it be good to take all this in the morning because we need the energy to start the day?
For that,
fast already.
that is a fallacy. That is a fallacy. I mean, back in the days, yes, we need that energy because we are going out, we're doing labor work. We need that energy, but now it's too much. And when you have too much of this energy, you're drowning. Imagine like a plant, like a flower. Too much of water, what happens to the flower?
Brown.
What happens to the flower mati lah, right?
Yeah.
So it's not to say like water is bad. I'm not saying to say sugar is bad. Please don't get me wrong. I'm trying to educate and share this information to the public that everything has to be in balance. And this world is about yin and yang. It's about the sun and the rain. It's about the whole balance of the ecosystem. And our body is also an ecosystem, right? So how do we make sure that we get that balance in our body?
Okay. Do you have
Yeah.
a very simple tips how they can reach the balance that in the
I think
morning?
the first thing is I'm not trying to ask you to go and radically change your diet into a start with a salad or what. That's not the point, because we are all Malaysians, right? We love our nasi lemak, we love our thosai, we love our teh tarik, with things like that. But the question is, the first thing is, can you perhaps order some eggs in the morning instead of just just rice or bihun based carbohydrate? And have a bit of eggs like a teh tarik. Teh tarik you can kurangkan manis, or maybe you can always teh o, right?
Yep.
So these are things that I think these are the swaps that we can try, and not necessarily you have to cut nasi lemak completely. You still can enjoy them,
Yep.
but not always, right? Not every single day.
That's
Okay, so the idea is learn how to swap your food choices, especially in the warung, right? From, let's say, nasi lemak, can you do like thosai with eggs, and then order teh o, just to keep it a bit more balanced.
All right.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So let's move on into the second.
I think before
habit.
let's move on to this.
Go
Before
ahead.
we move on
Sure.
to the second one, it's like I'm imagining what the audience might ask.
Yep.
They might ask Ben, right? So how much sugar should I take? You're saying that we need to reduce the high sugar, right? We need to reduce the high sugar intake. So is there any recommendation, roughly or general guideline, that we know that we are exceeding the sugar
I think
intake?
sometimes when it comes to numbers, it's
Right.
quite hard for us to gauge, right? I think the easiest way for us is just to ask yourself, like, can you just limit the amount of sugary beverages you take in a day? I think that itself, if someone who is taking 2 to 3 cups of high sugary drinks in a day, just by limiting like 1 or 2 cups, you're getting, I would say, a pretty much decent drop in your sugar. Like, I think 1 glass of teh tarik, for example, outside, how many grams of sugar? 15, 20?
Probably more than that.
More than that,
Yeah.
right? It really depends, like, whether if they're generous or not. Lah.
Yep.
So just 1 cup can make a significant change. Right?
True, true.
Just a beverage drink. And sugar that I feel the most easiest for us to tackle is the sugar that comes in the beverage. And I feel like that's the reason why I guess maybe the government is putting a tax on
Yeah,
sugar in the
sugar,
beverage.
yeah.
I'm not sure. That's maybe the first move, because maybe they thought that would be the biggest impact. This is just I'm guessing. Okay.
Yep.
So can we evaluate because you mentioned about the brain fog, like after we take a big meal, right, large
Sure,
meal,
sure.
then we'll feel the brain fog. If let's say for us to evaluate whether we are actually reducing the sugar, high sugar intake from our diet, probably we can expect as well the brain fog condition will be lesser.
Yeah, I would say like this is one of the factors, but there could be many confounding factors as well. For example, I don't know, like it could be stress, it could be just
Not
tired,
enough
or maybe not
sleep.
enough sleep,
Yeah.
and then like you have used up
True.
so much of your brain cells that your brain fatigue. There could be many things that contribute to brain fog.
Right.
But I can say sugar biologically is one of the larger contributors. All right, because of the spike and too much eating. And I personally felt that, personally for me, like I felt if I start to take too much sugar, especially in the morning, and straight afternoon I go for a heavy meal, like nasi lemak, a bihun goreng, or curry meat, things like that, I would literally experience the effect. I'll feel like my whole afternoon is just like messed up. I can't
I
function
understand.
properly,
Yep.
and my line of words, the way how I process things is just damn slow. All right, and this is what I
Alright.
feel. Right,
I understand.
personally. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the second point.
Sure,
Second
go ahead.
habit.
Okay.
Yeah, second habit, which is related to fiber, right?
Yes, fiber. Okay.
Mm.
So just have a quick guess. Now, how many percent of the population of Malaysia is getting fiber? I know this is boring stats, but just a quick question.
How many of them
How many of
actually-
them actually get the enough fiber intake, and they recommended by government of 25 to 30 grams of
I don't know,
fiber in a day?
probably
Adults.
30%, 40%.
30%,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
Definitely less than 50%.
It's actually, if I'm not mistaken, it's actually less than 5%.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That get enough lah. Get enough.
Yes, they get enough, hitting the 25 to 30 grams of fiber in a day. Okay, but please do check. I need to check the data, but I think this is what I can remember. It was like 2 years ago. So this is pretty alarming. And what is even more alarming is like just a few days ago, I was doing a bit of research on fiber.
Yeah.
Okay, looking at soluble fiber, insoluble fiber,
Yeah.
and I chanced upon a research paper in
Mm.
Malaysia that investigates the nutritional status of fiber intake in patients living in a clinical setting in a hospital. And surprisingly, out of all the nutritional status, the protein, the fat, or whatever, fiber is the one that is like the highest number of people in a hospital setting that
Not taking it.
not getting the enough fiber intake in a day, which is very surprising. All right, maybe I'm not bashing the government. Please don't get me wrong. Right, maybe we do have the recommended guidelines in terms of providing enough fiber, but compliance is low, perhaps. But imagine if, let's say, compliance is low in a hospital setting.
What if in the general?
What in the general population?
So it could be like the situation. It might not be because of the hospital does not
Yes,
provide,
yes.
but probably the compliance of the
Perhaps,
patients, right?
Perhaps,
Yep.
yes.
Could
yes.
that also be because, I'm just making assumption, because they don't take enough fiber in their daily life, and then that's why they get certain disease, they get higher risk to get the disease, and that's why they are admitted.
Absolutely,
Am I
right.
understanding?
Yeah. I think
Correct.
there's a link because fiber itself is such a beautiful and I would say it's like a miracle thing that God had given us.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
but the sad thing about today's industrialization of food that getting so toxic is killing us is because they strip away this fiber.
Why so do you think? Actually?
Because fiber itself, it gets mushy. You know, you cannot preserve food longer. You know, it's like, for example, if you keep frozen vegetable, you put it in the fridge. If you take it out, it's not tasty.
Understand.
All right, but it doesn't mean the fiber is not functioning. It just becomes not tasty, and because of the lack of palatability,
Yep.
People don't.
people don't want to buy it. And if people don't know why, how can big food companies sustain whatever they want to do, right?
True. Yeah.
So they're getting out the fiber and just creating this one little molecule that is so damn, refined and we call it as the glucose, all right? or the fructose or the sucrose, all right? Table sugar, sucrose. And that's the problem, you know, when these things get so refined and bypasses all the fiber, and this leads to the huge sugar spike, and as you know, long-term sugar spike, insulin resistance. And what happens, you know, when you have high sugar, as you know, people with elevated sugar levels in their body causes damage to their blood vessels. You know, we have oxidative stress, we have glycation, we have the ROS, the reactive oxygen species, you know, all that things, the free radicals are damaging the blood vessels, and that's why there's also blood pressure problems, right? Because your blood vessels are not elastic anymore. All right, so it's a whole cascade, and the fiber is like a protective mechanism that helps you to lower your cholesterol, as you know, right? Through removing bile acids. What else? It helps to buffer your sugar spike, right? If you take fiber before you have a sugary meal, it buffers the sugar spike. All right, and there are so many things that fiber can do. You know, it feeds your bacteria in your gut, right?
True.
Yeah.
And if you're not feeding your bacteria in your gut, there's like billions or trillions of bacteria. Then who else is feeding it?
Okay, so let's get into the problem directly,
Yeah.
right? I think when people think about fiber, they would think about vegetables, right?
Yeah,
Not everybody likes vegetables.
absolutely.
Are there any options?
Well, I totally understand, right? Not everyone is a fan of vegetables. But there are many other things that are also high in fiber, right? Fiber is just the carbs, right? And the carbs, who else? Like, for example, you can look at peas, right? It's a vegetable also, right? You know, corn. Yeah, it's a vegetable also. What else? Oats, right?
Yep.
Grains, yeah.
Nuts, for example, they do have fiber, all right? But personally, for me, I would say like, even if you hate vegetables, I'm pretty sure there's one or two that you still can barely
accept lah.
enjoy, right?
Cucumber ke.
Yeah, I don't know, right? Maybe there's one or two that you still can enjoy. And I feel like start from somewhere you can. And there's a research that actually shows that people who don't like vegetables, it's not because you don't like the vegetables. It's probably sometimes there are also some signaling hormones that your gut bacteria is imbalanced and causing you not to enjoy certain tastes of vegetables. So there's always this link between your gut and your brain and your sensory perception, you know?
Yep.
And there's a research that actually show that if you like sugary foods, processed foods, you train your bacteria to love those foods, and your bacteria is signaling, telling your body without you controlling yourself through willpower
That
to
you
go
don't
and
like
grab the food. So I think
Right.
you gotta understand that there's this whole complex mechanism beyond just environmental factors. There's also a biological component that we must not overlook.
Of course.
Which is,
yeah.
if you feed, you nourish your bacteria well, it may actually help you to want to eat more of the vegetables. Not just like people who wean off from sugar, after 1 month, they feel like when they start taking sugar, they feel like, ugh,
Yeah.
they say they just hate the taste, but
True.
clearly a month ago, that wasn't you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what's the change?
Well, this is a very interesting
Yeah.
data.
Yeah. So that's where I feel like you gotta allow yourself to trust yourself. Start from where you can, even though it's just a carrot, for example. Just start from where you can and slowly build up, and hopefully you'll start to see magnificent changes in your
Wonderful.
diet. Yeah.
I like the main idea of how we should train
Yep.
our body and train the food and
Uh-huh.
diet and
Yep.
etc.
Mm.
Right. So, okay, let's move. Maybe we can move on to the third one. I
Sure.
think fiber, we cover quite a lot in our previous episode as well, and
Yep.
also in terms of this episode. You mentioned about,
I take fiber supplement, by the way.
oh, you take some.
Yeah,
fiber
sometimes, right? Not all the
Right.
time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay. How about the third one? The
Yep.
third habit.
The third habit.
The last one is actually movement.
Right.
Movement.
Exercises.
It doesn't have to be exercises, but just general movement, right? Movement, it can encompass whether if you're doing house chores, you're cleaning, just pretty much movement that engages your muscles.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the reason why I say lack of movement can lead to all these problems is because you see, because of we have taken in so much sugar into our body.
Mm.
I'm just saying sugar lah, okay, but of
Right.
course they are fat, so but just saying sugar. Our mitochondria inside our muscle cells, they are already like jam packed with so much energy, so much sugar, so much fuel, for example. And if there isn't a way to get rid of this thing, right? What happens inside the mitochondria? It gets clogged up, Just imagine, like say, right now, your kitchen is full of all the stuff that you're going to have for the next 1 year.
Mm.
How are you going to manage your fridge or your kitchen?
Mm.
What happens? You don't even know where to start. You don't even know where to cook,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
You don't even know how to use which one is the fresh one, which one is the expired one. It just gets clogged up. And this is what happens when you don't exercise, you don't move. All this energy, calories, sugar gets clogged in this muscle cell, in this, like for example, the muscles.
Mhm.
And that's when we experience the mitochondrial fatigue. I'm not sure if mitochondrial fatigue is
I've heard that,
basically
yep.
there's so much sugar in your mitochondria, so much energy that your mitochondria, which is your energy powerhouse,
Yep.
the engine of your house,
Mhm.
engine of a car, just doesn't know how to function anymore because it's just got swamped by all these things.
But Ben, I don't have time to exercise.
Well, you don't have to exercise. You can walk, right?
I don't have time to walk, Ben.
I don't trust you. You can walk while still enjoying your favorite podcast or your music. Okay, you can find a reason to go out with your, for example, if you have many of us who have families at
Yeah.
home, maybe you don't have to use exercise as a mean to drive you to walk. I always tell this to my patients is find some other reasons that allows movement in your life. For example, can you spend time with your family?
Mm.
Do you value the importance of having quality time with your children? Use that as a driving factor to help you to go out,
Okay.
to get some sunlight.
True.
So the priority is not to go to walk. The priority is spending more time with your
Yep.
children, spending more time with, I don't know, someone else. It can be your colleagues or something that allows you the motivation to do a certain thing without feeling you like you have to go and exercise. So
Understand.
the question is you have to ask why, know the why, why you want to do this is more important than just say, okay, I have to exercise. Because instead of saying I have to exercise, why not you change the narrative to I get to exercise?
I see. It's a mindset shift.
It's a mindset shift. You see,
Yeah.
saying I have, it feels like burden, but I get to is a privilege.
True,
So
true.
own your privilege.
I didn't expect it would go this far.
I'm
But
still processing.
yeah, while
Yeah.
you're processing, I
Yeah.
guess I will just move into the summary of our conversation today.
Sure. Right.
So yeah, basically today we talk about the habits that lead to metabolic syndrome, such as like diabetic, hypertension, high cholesterol, and
Yes.
all those kind of diseases,
Yep.
which are very, very prominent in Malaysia. If you
Yes.
listen our podcast from the beginning just now,
Yep.
the percentages are really, really high, and it keeps growing each and every year.
Mm.
So Ben shared a very straightforward habits that
Yeah.
actually happening in our daily life, which is the first one, is in term of the
Sugar.
exactly.
Yeah, cutting down your sugar.
Exactly how many sugar we eat every day, we take every day without us actually realizing it. How to actually deal with it? It's not totally to cut it, right? But to maybe reduce from maybe 2 data rate to like just 1 first, you know?
Yeah.
And that already give a very huge difference. The second one is actually in term of the
Fiber.
which
Yeah.
is it's not only sayo, right?
Yeah,
we,
it's not
we,
only
we need
sayo.
to try to make a different mindset as well about it. There are a lot of other sources of fiber that we can get out there. Simply Google nowadays, right? You can already find
Yeah.
alternative other than vegetables.
Yeah.
And the most important part, the third part as well,
Movement.
is the movement.
Yeah.
So there is this one exercises type. It is called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
Yeah.
How important it is for us to take this into consideration of you doing gardening in the morning, or maybe just cook, or maybe just sweep the floor. That's already counted as a non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and it's actually contributing you to burn calories as well.
Yeah.
And that's also part of you try to complete 10,000 steps per day. And what Ben was mentioning just now, it's very crucial, is the mindset shift.
Yeah.
Instead of like you have to do it, but it's about the privilege of you get to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful, Ben. Wonderful
My pleasure.
explanation.
My
Very
pleasure.
straightforward.
Yeah.
Very
Any
straightforward.
any last advice to everyone?
No, just just try to experiment things. Don't see nutrition as something too tense, too difficult to understand. You know, I think find joy in learning, and it's good that you learn from the right people. Like a fine diet, okay. Make sure you get the right source of information. Don't simply go and Google and then at the end like you get confused and then so it's a messy place. And that's part of our mission as well, right? Is
Yep.
to cut through the confusion
True.
and deliver what is simple, accessible for all of us, for Malaysians, and hopefully beyond Malaysia and to the world, to learn and find joy in nutrition.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, before we end, Ben, you were talking about supplement for fiber. Is it?
Well, that's that. Well, I personally
I catch that.
Yeah, I personally, to be honest, like please bear in mind, you know, number one is the best fiber in your diet is always coming from whole foods.
Yep.
All right. Please bear in mind. But you know, just in case, you know, sometimes when things get a bit out of hand, an alternative is considering fiber supplement. And I myself do take it personally, especially when I have big meals in the evening. When I know that, for example, I'm going out for a big meal and it's going to be hard for me to access vegetables, then I take my fiber supplement, you know, just as a buffer to get the soluble fiber, insoluble fiber, and then my whatever carbohydrates or alcoholic drinks, for example.
Okay,
So-
I want to challenge a bit in terms
Sure.
of this perspective, right? Because
Yeah.
we as healthcare professionals or like dietitian, nutritionists
Sure.
are very triggered to listen or to hear the word supplement,
Yeah.
you know, like those things, right?
Yeah.
So what is your, I don't know, ways of being or the way how you think, how you operate, how would we
Okay.
discuss it? Because sometimes we try to avoid. Supplement, no. It's always
Okay.
whole food. But as what you mentioned, it makes some point in that, right?
Do you want to do you want to get this really uncensored version or a censored version? So okay, where should I start? So this is just my personal opinion. Okay, my personal opinion.
Disclaimer.
Afraid to go very far.
I think the first thing we have to ask ourselves is
Yeah.
why do we get so much negative connotation towards supplement in the first place? Why?
I have the answer.
Yeah, go on,
Yeah,
Shanine.
because a lot of the products that claim as supplement, they might not really help, and then they cost a lot of money. And the way, I mean, of course, in terms of the way they sell the supplement, sometimes
It's over
it's
claim.
Overclaiming.
Yeah, they were saying that this supplement can cure a lot of problem and disease.
Okay, great point, Shani. Okay, so if I were to ask you a question, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it's fair to say that supplement is a problem then? Just because of some people or some unscrupulous people are saying that are using a wrong tactic or wrong way of marketing, can you put the blame on supplements solely?
If
Is
let's
it
say
fair?
let's say I don't have enough knowledge, I would definitely blame. I would just say this is just their fault. They are overclaiming. They tell me this. They promise need me. I will get better, but that just doesn't.
Yeah. So I think that this is the gap in education. All right. Whatever healthy can be unhealthy if in excess. It doesn't mean supplements. Even drugs can be dangerous if we take in excess. So why drugs are not getting the blame? even water can get the blame. If we drink so much water to a point where 20 liters a day, you would have probably some kind of problems happening in your body. So I just feel like this whole logic is wrong. Supplement is bad is wrong. Supplement shouldn't be bad. Only if it's bad when, because of the halo effect, the marketing effect, the overclaiming and the hard selling, it's totally unfair to label supplement as a bad thing.
Some of the recent news as well.
Yeah.
Some of I don't think it is a recent news, but
Yeah.
some supplement that add in with something that is bad to our body. So I'm afraid to take supplement.
Because of the overclaiming, right? Because people want to sell the product, and hence that's why if you look at a few years ago, there's the ban in Subutramine, and they put drug ingredients into supplement just to make sure that it works to increase your heart rate, to burn fat, and I think this is just we require more regulations. Like if there's more regulations, there's more ways to protect the supplement industry, we can slowly change the narrative. And also one thing is, I feel, this is my personal opinion, is, you see, I know this can be very controversial, Shen Yi and Ameerul, but I feel like I want to share this because I feel like I am we are all like nutritionists and dietitians, and we are the experts in food.
Yep.
So it got me really thinking, like, why we as experts of the food, and if we're not talking about supplements, then who else we're talking about it? Just imagine, let's say, a mechanic. If you have a car problem, who would you find?
Mechanic.
And if you have, I don't know.
I want to cut my hair.
Yeah,
go for barber.
yeah, exactly. But
Right.
supplements is a functional food, right? It's a between food and drugs. So in this line, who's the one that owns the category? Who is the one should stand out and regulate this if we are not the one regulating this?
Because we are running away from it, right?
Yes. So why? And the question is, you see, the whole healthcare system is designed by who? Who funds the healthcare system? If you think about it,
Yes. The business people, is that what you mean? Or
The patient.
there is always someone that gets value from this whole system, right?
Okay, I
That's
see where you're coming
that's,
from.
That's
Okay.
the pharmaceutical company coming in.
Mhm.
There's the drug and things like that. Okay, there has to be some value created in the process, and you see, I was once a medical doctor. Okay, I wasn't a medical doctor graduated, but I did 1 year of medical school, for example, and this whole system is created by someone.
Okay.
There's someone funding this system,
Mm.
and who is the one funding the system? We have not really questioned this deep enough. And I just see, like, many doctors, like just my own experience. Like, I'm not saying that all doctors are like that, but my own experience, like, some doctors are not willing to even tell the truth. What do I mean by that? For example, I had a sleep disc problem that I got a terrible pain, and one of my muscles got into a spasm mode,
Mm-hmm.
and the doctor actually told me, it's a very reputable doctor in one of the biggest hospitals in Penang. He just asked me to start to inject steroids and to put me on surgery.
Mm.
And never had he told me that, oh, actually this is due to XYZ problem. It's due to your lifestyle. And I think the reason why he or she wouldn't want to talk about this is because
Need
maybe
to sell the drugs.
maybe that could be one thing. Maybe that's just not the way how he monetize the thing. It's just not part of his value chain.
I understand.
He's not extracting value from the message. So sometimes people are not disclosing the message because it's just not part of his interest. And even if he shared the truth, means no business for him.
True. That is very bad, bro.
I wouldn't want to blame them because this is just how the system is designed. It is a sick care system. We are treating symptoms, not treating root causes.
Yeah.
And hence, if you look at the situation we face today, right, if big hospitals are really doing a job right, or mechanics are doing its job right, you wouldn't send your car into the garage like more times than
True.
ever. Okay? It will be lesser and lesser, but now if you look at insurance premiums are going up. Everyone is affecting.
Yep.
You look at hospitals are getting bigger and bigger. Nothing wrong about it, okay? But I feel there's a missing gap in terms of the root cause. Okay? I think it's a bit diverging to the supplement part, but I feel like the reason why supplements don't get a good reputation is because maybe doctors just don't sell supplements, or maybe doctors are just trained by the system that we do a hard no to supplements.
I see.
Yeah. And they just focus on drugs.
Just to protect on their rights, just to protect on their interests. I know this is very controversial. I know someone's gonna bash me, but let us be frank. Okay, let us be frank, right? We have to pay our bills, right?
True.
But I feel like we need to also spread the truth and learning where is the fine line, right? Not to say drugs are bad, but it's just that at what occasion, what situation, in what circumstances, what method should we use? All right, and this truth has to be spoken.
Again, a very deep. But
Yeah.
Put that supplement question aside. Actually,
Yeah.
me personally, I'm okay with supplement as well because the existence of supplement. I'm just trying to challenge you more just now.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah,
Bring it
I
on.
He likes that.
Yeah, I love to be challenged,
But-
man.
but yeah,
this discussion is going well. Yeah.
Yeah, but supplement is the function, the
Keep
reason
going.
why is it created.
Hmm.
Mainly, we want to actually, provide an alternative for someone who, when their diet is not really satisfiable, or sometimes we can't choose to get everything we want. So supplement has its own value and benefits over there actually, and not me denying saying that some of the people who overclaim and things like that. Apart from that side, the overclaim of supplement, there are actually quite a few supplement that us dietitian even we use in the hospital.
Exactly.
We take it, we name it as oral nutrition supplement. So
Yeah.
there's always a certain process that we need to go through before we start supplement. Instead of you have this problem, don't need to go to the doctor. Let me introduce you this supplement.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That should be the approach that
Yes.
when we are speaking the truth when we are educating the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have any comments on this. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's about the supplement topic.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I'm glad that we bring this into a discussion or like a conversation because like what I said earlier, we always run away from this topic because we don't want to get into this controversial.
Yep.
But Ben has his own point. And I think it makes sense for us to start thinking and brainstorming about it in a discussion with other nutritionists, other dietitians, rather than just like totally cut off something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I just want to make the point that there's even research studies that show that even combining supplements and drugs can even provide a better overall experience to the clients. Like for example, combining metformin with a fiber supplement. It's been shown that that metformin doesn't address as much as the fiber addresses on the gut.
True. I
So
see.
this is, I feel it as, we shouldn't see it as, okay, you need to have this and you cannot have this. We should see it as how we can synergistically use it for the benefit of overall. And that's where I see that, we as nutritionist dietitians, that we are friends with everyone.
True.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
We're not trying to say that I'm in this camp or I'm this camp. No, like there's no one camp that is suitable for everyone, right? It's what is best for the client, what's best for the patient. We give them the best experience, right? So we should work hand in hand and not trying to bash each other down. That's what I hope in the future, hopefully.
Awesome.
Right.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Shen Yi, any other things in your mind that you want to just let it out?
You're gonna criticize me. Probably some of your listeners will be having some doubts or some things. What would be there?
We'd love to hear any thoughts from anyone about it. Like
Yeah.
we're more than open if anybody who actually have this thought and wanna have like a coffee talk or session, we can actually bring Ben, Shen Yi and I will be together there and then we can discuss and come up with a common ground where we can actually decide or like talk about it, where we can actually educate and give awareness to the people about it instead of like just no.
Yeah.
I think what happened behind, like one of the perspectives that Ben was mentioning just now, it somehow it's a new perspective where a lot of people might not realize. You get what I mean? Instead of they're just finger pointing at someone's fault or some of the, be it the supplement, be it the treatment, for example, right?
Yeah.
So, but there is a lot of consideration at the back. I don't have much things to add on, but that's pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, we would love to hear more some of your
Yeah.
listeners, maybe giving us some
They can
comment,
comment.
Yeah.
discussion, so that we can maybe work on it and have another session, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
Through your comments.
If you got comments. Yeah, but I still have the what we call that reminder or like something that I want to emphasize.
Sure.
To me, it is still important to prioritize whole food first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever it is lah. Just a reminder to
Yep.
everyone.
Yep.
We have a perspective on this supplement and everything, but we are not trying to put away the fact that we still need whole food first. We need to choose whole food first before we actually add in all
Absolutely.
these supplements and whatsoever
Absolutely.
inside
Yeah.
our daily diet.
Yeah.
And supplement act as a supplement, but not
Yeah.
the main things that
Yeah.
that go through your whole sorry, lost my words a little bit. Supplement remains as supplement, but it shouldn't be the main source of nutrients that comes from your daily life.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point that we don't want people to misunderstand about
Yes.
this topic, right? Suddenly it's like, what are these boys are talking about? Suddenly,
Yeah,
should
yeah.
I just take supplement after this? Like just fiber
Yeah.
pills after this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I have been seeing a few, not a few, actually a lot of the connection around. They are actually having this practice of showing on their social media. They just take supplement, like they just show their pills. I believe, if let's say
I
some
think
of you
I might know this brand.
so there's a lot. Then they will say, this is my daily nutrients, for example. Yeah. So which I think, if let's say you can get it from food, this is the things that we want to emphasize again. If you can get all the nutrients from food, supplement remain as a supplementary products or nutrients to your health and to your diet.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
All right, Ben. Anything else before we close the session?
No, thank you so much. You've been great.
We
Great
should
host.
thank you.
No, my pleasure, Shen Yi and Ameerul. My pleasure.
Yeah.
It's great
Yeah.
talking to you.
So if you like our content, please feel free to share this content, share this episode with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe us on podcast on Spotify
and
also
YouTube.
YouTube, and of course you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more tidbits.
Before you forget, we also have coaching program.
Yep.
Anybody who has diabetes, cholesterol, hypertension, whatever diseases.
Yeah. And if you need some support guidance in terms of how to correct or how to improve your health status, come to us.
Yep.
You can talk to us, DM us, anything.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Stem approval.
Sorry?
You have my stem approval. So yeah, it's fine there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day ahead.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
day. Bye-bye.